Back to Straight Facts. I'm joined by Mojenda himself. Morning, my friend. How are you?
Morning. How's everybody doing? Hope everybody's all right. Hope you're all right.
That's very early for you. It's like 5 o'clock in the morning where you are in Houston, Texas. I appreciate you joining us. Viewers, wherever you're watching, let us know, viewers, where you are around the world in the comment section now. Let us know where you're watching from. Also, smash like buttons, subscribe, turn on the bell notifications as well so you don't miss any of our live content or recorded videos as well. Lots to delve into today. Weekend's games. I want to get Mo's opinion on what went on, what happened this weekend, and yours on this Monday morning as well. Of course, taking a look ahead of a very interesting game tonight between Tottenham and Chelsea as well. I wanted to start with Man United, and I have a question for you on their win at the weekend. Do you feel Bruno's late 90th minute goal is essentially papering over cracks? Is it delaying the inevitable, or do you believe this could be the start of what Ten Hag is calling a resurgence this season?
Both teams were shambles. Man United was shambolic that game. I was watching the game and I was taking notes, and I'm like, what is going on here? Bruno Fernandes, individual brilliance. He provided the moment, which was expected, and we spoke about this 50,000 times, that the guy can provide these moments. He has these moments in him. But during the game, it wasn't great. It didn't look great. Your back line plus McTominay in the middle can't play football the level that Ten Hag wants, or every Man United fan is looking at this team. Johnny Evans, Harry Maguire, Dalo, Wan-Bissaka, and McTominay. That's half your team. You cannot play football with that team. I'm sorry. That's just delaying the inevitable. I still thought that the players were trying, but not trying hard enough. Garnacho was trying his best, but again, this team is not good enough. And I think this is a win that was just delaying the inevitable. As you said, it didn't look good. Like, anyone that doesn't have an agenda would look at this team and think, yeah, you're still not great. You're not good, Erik ten Hag. You still didn't put out the good team. Amrabat was on the bench. Yeah, Christian Eriksen played well. But that's not the future, though. You're papering over the cracks. So this Man United team, I did a show after, and I'm like, you're still terrible. You won against Fulham, who were absolutely shambolic, by the way. By the way, Fulham were terrible this game. I don't think he survives. I think 16th of December is it. That's it. The Liverpool game. This is it. Like, there is nothing that is going his way. Yeah, this goal went his way. 3 points. I actually thought that away from home, you might win this game against Fulham. But it didn't look good. I think everybody at the club now, I think this is a machine, Terry, that is not working together. You know, when you work for a company and you do very well, and then you go for a different company, but it's not working. You try so hard, but it's not working. It's not because the players are bad. This notion that people keep saying that Man United players are terrible, you're wrong. Bruno Fernandes isn't a terrible player. He's still a good player. He's playing in the wrong position. He's trying so hard. Marcus Rashford isn't a terrible player. Yeah, people say he's a patchy player. He isn't that bad. You can get something out of him. Look at Anthony, for example. I called out Anthony from last season. There is a reason why Manchester United went to the Eredivisie and paid that money, right? It was not for nothing. The guy was playing well for Ajax for 2 seasons, right? Manchester United aren't going to Manchester City and buy their winger. You're going to go to the Eredivisie. You're going to go to Serie A. You're going to go to the French League and buy their good wingers. The wingers that shine. Anthony was shining. I actually think that Man United at the moment, it's Ten Hag plus this group of players. It's not working together. You might get a new manager and it might work. This is just delaying the inevitable. And I feel like that Copenhagen game on Wednesday might not be great. Might not be great. It might turn ugly. Yeah. And I didn't feel that it was a good game. It was like, yeah, we're back. I know some Man United fans, and I'm sorry to call them out. They get into their echo chambers. You know what I mean? Like, they think nobody's watching them. And they get together and they're like, we're back, by the way. Yeah, it's the start of something. You have to open your eyes and see what is happening. You know what is going on. They get together and we're back. We're back.
we've all done it at times, called out what other Man United fans have said, and I do it, but I do it from very much a case of I just don't agree with your opinion, and this is why. The kind of the fighting amongst Man United fans has been so interesting these last few weeks. We won at the weekend, and everyone that doesn't think the manager should be sacked, everyone who rates Maguire, everyone who rates Bruno, just suddenly told you were all wrong for the criticism, told you were all wrong to doubt us. And I'm in a mixed place because I love Bruno Fernandes, but that goal was great. It was a captain's goal. I'm really happy it went in, but that doesn't paper over the fact that he has been awful. Maguire, yeah, look, he's been okay in recent games, but it doesn't undo the 18 months of horrendous performances from him. And the manager, I stand by what I felt before the game, that I don't understand what he's doing at Man United in the sense of what we know, how we know he can get a team to play. He has told us. And people keep telling me I'm misquoting him. And I've gone back and read the quotes 4, 5, 6 times. And I'm like, no, I'm paraphrasing now, but he said, you'll never see the Ajax way. I'm bringing some of that, but I've got to mix it in with the Man United DNA. And we're 18 months in, and I'm looking at it and thinking, well, ain't good enough. You've brought 14 players in. It should be looking better than it is. We should look more dangerous. And this is the little things. It's not even about the style per se, in possession, lack of shape, poor defensive line, easy to play through. Always, it feels like we lose those second balls in those fights. So, yeah, for me, I feel like it's papered over cracks. I heard him speak last night, Ten Hag, as well. And he gave a speech. He got an award for winning the Carabao Cup, like a northern sector of like a, managed like an LMA type thing. I'm not too sure what it was. Got an award. And he spoke about how they're going to progress from here. But listening to him talk, he doesn't sound like the same man we employed 18 months ago. Now, I understand that the English is not his first language, and I've always got a tremendous respect for people that speak multiple languages because I can barely speak English. But listening to him talk, you could tell it was ramblings, almost like he doesn't believe what he's saying. So, yeah, let's.
Let me give you an example.
It says, Terry, you only love Bruno's numbers, nothing else. I mean, I do love the fact that he has been one of the most prolific midfielders for Man United ever in terms of the time and span that he's been here. So, of course, I love his goals and I love his assists, but that isn't the numbers that I loved about him. It was the amount of games he helped us win. And what I was hoping for is if over the last 3 to 4 years, we had 6 players, just 6, in our first team, in their relative positions, performing at the level that Bruno was in that time, we'd have won more trophies. If you had a striker delivering at that rate, 2 defenders performing at that rate consistently, a central midfielder behind him performing at that consistency for 3 years, we'd have won more things. So, yeah, I loved a lot of what Bruno did, but I feel that he has been a casualty of this failing system because since the beginning of last year, he started to fade away. But it's no surprise. Sorry, beginning of the Ollie season. Last year, I thought we had a good season. The team's fading again. And he's part of that, and he makes his mistakes. But Bruno has got flaws. So you either play to his strengths or you don't play him. And that's the problem with Man United for a decade. We have too many. We did it to Pogba, the poor lad, all the time. He was never an out-and-out holding midfielder. But we very rarely played him in his best position. And when he went through periods in that best position, he's really good. But then, yeah, just that Man United are a mess for that. But sorry, you were going to say something, bro.
Yeah, I was going to say, listen, I always ask myself, when I watch every team in the Premier League, you ask yourself one question: what is Arsenal? What is Liverpool? What is Man United? And that reminds me of Thomas Tuchel. But Thomas Tuchel at the end won the Champions League with Chelsea. You remember that time? People said the one thing left for him was that striker when they got Lukaku from Inter for 105 million or 100 million. But at the end, if you watch that Tuchel part at Chelsea, he tightened the defense. They were relying on Havertz and Werner and Ziyech and you remember Pulisic to get the goals on counterattacks. If you look at this Man United this season, I'm not talking about last season, I'm talking about this season, and you ask yourself, what is Man United? I bet 99% of Man United fans wouldn't be able to answer that question. What is Man United? What am I going to watch today from Man United? Nobody knows. It's every game is different. People say injuries or not injuries. That's fine. De Zerbi plays sometimes different players. They play the same way. Emery sometimes different players play the same way. Right? Pep Guardiola, the same. Jurgen Klopp, the same. Right? Top managers, if we want to call Ten Hag a top manager, you have to have a footprint. Right? I'm not talking about style of play now. I'm talking about a footprint. patterns of play, places to stand on the pitch, a way to play football, it turns into a kick and run, an American way. And I'm sorry to say that. Like high school here in America, sometimes because of the athleticism of the players and because they play American football, they kick and run. And that's what it is now for Man United. There's no style of play. And it's not sustainable. And it's going to look... Yeah, go ahead.
It's funny you say that. My big brother and my youngest brother are Leyton Orient fans, and they play in League One, so 2 divisions below the Premier League. And I've watched a few of their games this year because they actually have like a channel you can stream the games from, and they've watched games here, and I've watched them. And of course, the footballers are not as technically gifted as Premier League footballers, but they play football. The last time I was watching League One football, I've been to watch Leyton Orient a few times. It was kick and run or knock the ball long into the channels. That was how the lower levels played. Now at that level of football, they have build-up play. They are patient. They work it side to side. There are good triangles. They repeat the same play numerous times and have confidence in it. Man United don't play as good a football as teams in League One. Now, they have better technicians and they have better footballers, so therefore they would beat those sides. But in terms of the foundation and the base they're working from, it isn't as good. And a lot of Man United fans are living in cloud cuckoo land. But this is the maddest bit. Someone tweeted me the other day and said, "Oh, welcome to the Ten Hag out club." And I said, "Brother, I'm not with that mob either." Because most of that mob have also got a deluded view that if we sack the manager, we suddenly become a better team. It's much deeper than that. It's not as easy as that. Equally, the people that say sacking the manager won't improve us, so that long term, therefore we should just keep him, I think are also wrong. I think both sides are equally as 100%. They're too far on either side. There is more than just sacking the manager is needed, but this notion of keeping him or just sacking him and we're fixed. I listened to both arguments, and there's good points within each, but their conclusion is just too shallow as far as I'm concerned. There's so many more other avenues that need to be explored. But yeah,
you got to look at it from a different perspective. From Man United fans, yes, you might not get the manager that will fix it today, right? But your stock keeps going down with this guy, right? And by the time a new manager comes in at the end of the season, the ship might have already sunk completely, and there's no saving. Just get him out now. Get someone at least to steer the ship in the right places. You're not going to get to the land now, but you need someone to get some wins today, not tomorrow. You need someone to get wins today. People don't understand this, but we're not going to get better. I'm not asking you to get better. This is a company that is sinking now. You get a new CEO, you get a new manager, at least to steer it in the right place. Save what can be saved today so you can save the rest of it in the beginning of next season. Your season now might be gone.
Well, this
what are you going to chat? What are you going to play for?
Europe? I totally agree. This here says, Terry, when Bruno Fernandes does Hollywood passes which don't reach the players, is that down to him or the system? It's a really good question. So first of all, I can already see your disposition by saying Hollywood passes. Players like Bruno, Trent, KDB, who will, over a period of a season, attempt a lot of through balls and crosses into the box. They're not Hollywood balls. They are crosses and through balls. I think we use the phrase Hollywood ball to make it sound like they're spamming and like what they're not trying to do is be precise. Sometimes it will be on Bruno Fernandes because he'll overhit a ball or underhit the ball, and that's when it's on him. However, there's been many a time where he's put a ball into the box. He did it twice against Fulham at the weekend. The first time it was well cleared by a defender, but McTominay should have made a near post run. If he does, he gets to the ball before the defender. The commentator didn't even pick up on it because McTominay was static. There's another one that he did that beat the defensive line and it bounced near the back post, but Garnacho hadn't made the run on the inside. So there's a combination of two things. The problem that happens with Bruno, and this is where I'll defend him, is that every time his passes don't come off, people say, "Oh, why did you do that?" They're not looking at it as a team sport and saying, "Well, should a run have been made by a player?" Sometimes it's his fault. Sometimes it's down to the system, team, or a player not doing their job, and you have to be consistent in that. But again, I would expect, because you're calling them Hollywood passes, you blame Bruno. But for me, I think you've got to be more balanced than that. David here says, do we think Ten Hag doesn't teach this, or are the players not adhering to their instructions?
I think it's just a machine that is not working together, my friend David. Listen, sometimes the players just don't respond to a certain manager. It happens all the time. Emery at Arsenal. It didn't work for him at Arsenal. Like, he's a good manager. It's just sometimes the players have bigger egos. It's just a machine that is not working together. You want to tell me that Rashford, one of the brightest talents that Man United youth teams that grew with Man United, is not a talented player, is not a good professional footballer? You want to tell me that Bruno is a bad player? He might not be to the level of Kevin De Bruyne. He might not be to the level of Riyad Mahrez, right? But they're not bad players. They're not league. I'm sorry, with all due respect, they're not League One players. It's just a machine that is not working together. You have to understand that.
There's a great chat in here that I'm going to put up in a minute, which explains this perfectly. Man United are a club who I think most fans, or a percentage of Man United fans, most rivals, and the media would say are in a crisis right now. Would you agree?
100%. You are, based on the level of your club, you're in a crisis.
Yep, so we're in a crisis. But we're only 6 points behind Arsenal, who are considered title contenders, and only 6 points behind Liverpool, who are also perceived by many, and we're going to get onto them later, as title contenders. Now, the point I'm making is we can be in a crisis and still only be a couple of wins behind teams that are looked at as one of the best in the league, and in some cases, the best in Europe. That's because we do have lots of quality players who have had moments in games to win us things. And I agree with you. I just think the way in which the club want Ten Hag to play football, I just don't think he can coach. And I mean that in the sense of coaches are different nowadays. Football is far more robotic than it used to be. Whether you like that or hate that is another debate. It doesn't need to be had today. And managers have a way of playing. I think Pep has one way of playing with some adaptations to it. Klopp has a style. Postecoglou has a style. Every manager has a way they want to play. I think gone are the days where you can say, right, for this season, we're going to be pragmatic, and the next season, we're going to be attacking. The season after, we're going to be this, we're going to be that, where these managers can chop and change it. Players are less versatile and managers are less versatile. So when you hire someone like a Ten Hag, you need the style of football to be almost identical to what they've been famed with. I think that, for me, is where the problem lies. We have a super chat here that says Bruno has lost possession more than any other player in the Premier League whilst not creating a chance for Haaland in 3 games. That most overrated player at Manchester United. He is holding us back. It's an interesting point.
Can I respond? He is holding you back because he's doing stuff that he shouldn't be doing. He's dropping deep. He's trying to get involved in the back. He's trying to do stuff that he shouldn't be doing. Bruno Fernandes for Portugal is a number 10. Look at him scoring the goal on the top of the box against Fulham. This is where he should be. Get me Odegaard, put him as a 6. Would you see the same Odegaard? Get Bukayo Saka now, put him as an 8. Would you see the same guy? Just look at the bigger picture. Look at the bigger picture. Bruno Fernandes in a proper team will be closer to the 18, will be more effective. But because the team is completely disjointed now, everybody isn't playing to the level. This is what you have to look at it. Don't look at individual players. Look at why he's not good.
Yeah.
Why he's not playing well. This is the problem.
Mo, I completely agree. Listen, what I'll say to this super chat, this is what I'll say. I agree with you. It's the lack of chances created in this team from every player, but I'm going to call out Bruno because he's our most creative. For Højlund is a disgrace. I watched Liverpool's game yesterday, and all I could think was, I wish if we created that amount of chances for Darwin Nunez, for Højlund, he's bagging goals. He's scoring those chances, in my opinion. I criticize Bruno for that. However, what Mo said is also right. He's being pulled from pillar to post. We've done this for too long in the club, and this is why you need better sporting directors watching behind the scenes and stopping the manager from doing this. Remember, the manager isn't Fergie was the boss of the whole of Man United. Ten Hag isn't. Ten Hag has to be told to a degree what to do. He doesn't run the club. He's the head coach. We should stop calling them managers. He isn't a manager. He is the head coach. And he should be told, what are you doing to Bruno? But you can't be told that by a banker, by an accountant, by a billionaire who made his money building and selling malls. That's the Glazers. You need to be told that by somebody with football intelligence to say, listen, why are you playing Bruno all over the place? He's okay at those jobs, but that's it. When Bruno plays off the striker, he is class. So just leave him there. If you don't want to play him there, let's cash in on him for a club that wants his skill set, and let's buy someone that can do what you're asking for. And that's how the club will improve. So I agree that Bruno's messing up in certain areas, but we're not playing him how we want. If you play Rashford as a number 9, we know we're not getting the best out of him. I know he ain't doing very well on the left at the moment, but we know we ain't getting the best out of him. We just know. This is big up Terry and Mo. Love for the both of you. Thank you very much, my G. HNK also says, I don't think it's about the points on the board. It's about the performances. So I agree. So that's what we're saying. Performance has been bad because the team is just not together.
Can we just establish something?
Because
for the people that are
I just want to say, but because of the quality of individual players, we're still only a handful of points away from the top teams. Burnley's and the Lutons and the Wolves and the Fulhams play better football than us. But because they don't have the same quality of players, that is why they're behind us in the league, and some of them significantly behind us already. So that's the point that was being made, my friend.
I just want to add something. Me sitting here telling you that Bruno isn't great, isn't playing great. I'm not saying that Bruno is doing all right now, and if he plays close to the forward will be good now. I'm saying that I'm giving you the reason why he's not playing well. I'm giving you the reason why someone like Rashford is not playing well. This is what we're saying. People misunderstand when I say, yeah, Bruno, if he plays close, he's good. I'm not telling you he's doing good. He's doing bad for this reason. I'm telling you now, at the moment, he's not doing good because of these reasons. I'm not saying, yeah, he can be good in the next game. I'm telling you, put him in the right place, then we can judge him. Put him in the right place, then we can judge him. We can't judge him now because he's being put in a position that is not his. This is what we're saying, people. Just stop this notion that you're defending him blindly. I'm not. I'm giving you the reason why he's not playing well.
I totally agree with you. And listen, that's not a full defense of him, but these things are not as polarized as just. I see some United fans online, and look, I respect their opinion, but with the whole kind of notion of sell Bruno, we're a better team. Yeah, you're right. If we dig deeper, you're right. If we sell Bruno and bring in a player that can do the multifaceted job that Erik ten Hag wants, absolutely, you're right. But that isn't a Bruno per se issue. That's you're trying to make him do something he's not particularly good at doing. Bruno will go elsewhere and play in his best position and deliver. And this has happened a few times at Man United. And some of the players haven't even been the very best out there. But when Di Maria left and started doing bits, well, why wasn't he doing that for us? Well, because he didn't really want to be here, as an example. Even players like Ashley Youngs and Darmians that went to Inter Milan and delivered. Why is it working for them there? Because the manager's got them playing in a position and in a system that gets the best out of their ability. Man United, for too long, we've been asking for things from players who don't have the capabilities to do them. And then we moan. And I don't know where this saying's from, but I love it. Man United, we judge goldfishes by their ability to climb trees all the time. And that is why the Peps and the Klopps are the best at what they do. Klopp knew he couldn't get Jordan Henderson to play like Zidane. So he said, listen, bruv, Trent's going to go forward. He didn't say bruv, but he said, listen, bro, Trent's going to go forward and attack and create. What you're going to do, mate, is you're going to cover his position and make sure we don't get countered. I'm really like watering it down, but that's what he did. He got the best out of him. If he'd have said, no, listen, Trent, you're sitting back and defending. You're my midfielder, Henderson. You were going to be my Zidane. It would have failed. And this is what it comes down to for me. But viewers, look, do us a favor and smash the like button for us. Please make sure you are subscribing. So this is what I want to say to a few people. People aren't wrong for wanting rid of Bruno. But the problem I have is when I hear their explanation, they go, just because he's crap. It's just so basic. I want to know exactly what you mean by it. This here says, we'll come back to that one a bit later. No top club would buy Bruno. We'll see, my friend, if he's ever
sold. You guys said that. Can I give an example before you go on?
Oh, mate.
You guys said that about Lukaku, didn't you? And Inter paid 18 million pounds for Lukaku. He scored 30 plus goals for Inter, went to the Europa League final, won the league after 10 years with Inter, flourished under Antonio Conte. I think Bruno is not. Look at him with Portugal. Yes, he plays with Lithuania. He plays against. But that's why he has.
I almost part of it. There is a part of me that wants Rashford and Bruno to be sold, just to see him do well. To go, I told you, in the right system and the right manager, they're decent players. They're not as trash as people say they are. But I want to ask you a question away from Man United. Yesterday, Jamie Carragher said that Liverpool are out of the title race. They can't win it. They're not good enough. Do you think it was? I know it was an embarrassing draw for Liverpool fans. I know they were angry about it. But do you think a draw away from home at Luton is enough evidence to say that Liverpool cannot win the title now out of this race?
Let me destroy what Jamie Carragher said. From the beginning of the season, everybody said that Liverpool will not win the Premier League because they don't have a DM and their forward line is the best in the division. That's what they said. That's Jamie Carragher's. He said that before. Everybody, every pundit, we said that. Did they draw at Luton yesterday because of an ODM or because their forward line had an off day? They didn't deliver. They were unlucky many times. Darwin Nunez missed a chance, missed a couple of chances, clear-cut chances. So what he's saying is rubbish. That game, you got to look at it individually. Now, if the team plays against a Brighton and gets destroyed in the midfield, and you tell me, yeah, I told you, they didn't buy a DM, they failed the Caicedo deal, that's why they're not winning the league, I'll believe you. But to tell me that because of they drew at Luton away, when they missed abundance of chances, this is now they're not going to win the league. That's completely wrong. Man City lost against Wolves, right? Did people say that's why they're not winning the league? No, nobody said that. But people are reactionary. I think yesterday's game is an isolation. But I said about Darwin Nunez, and people think I have an agenda against Darwin Nunez. I said Darwin Nunez is not the player that will win Liverpool the title. If he keeps insisting on playing Darwin Nunez and putting him on the squad ahead of other players, he might not win the title. Why? Darwin Nunez gets you a GA every 60 minutes. That's the say that is going around. The numbers don't lie. However, in small moments, when you need the right pass from your forward, like the Firminos, or you need the right finish, like Fernando Torres, or you need the brilliance of Luis Suarez, in these good Liverpool teams that we saw over the past 15, 20 years, Darwin Nunez isn't that guy. He might be in the next year, but he isn't that guy. Yesterday, he proved it. Easy passes missed. Yeah, he scored a wonder goal, right? Just a couple of days ago. But that's not what is going to win you the title. Darwin Nunez isn't the forward, but they have Gakpo, they have Jota, they have Luis Diaz. They did not draw the game yesterday because they didn't have a DM, which was your reason. Everybody said, buy a DM. You don't have a DM. They didn't draw the game yesterday because of a DM. They played awful. Mo Salah was off. Everybody was off. Szoboszlai didn't perform, right? Gravenberch was trying. But I think the game yesterday was an isolation. An isolated incident that wouldn't happen again. Jurgen Klopp will not fall into this mistake again. Jurgen Klopp wouldn't do this again. He put all the tactics right, a little bit of a personnel change, they would have won the game. This chance falls to Jota, it's a goal. Falls to Gakpo, it's a goal. In my opinion, people, Liverpool fans, don't panic. It's all right. Your team is scoring a lot of goals. You're still 3 points behind Man City, if I'm not mistaken. Right? You're doing all right. You're doing fine. Yes, you're compensating for the lack of a DM. I think your yesterday's performance was shambolic, yes, because of you did not put the chances away. And that's by itself will lose you games. But you don't do this every game. This is the first game when you didn't put your chances away. So don't panic. Stop that panicking thing.
Yeah. Again, it's funny because the Liverpool fans in the comments were calling me out for the title, right? And obviously I've quotated out never react to a title, react to the content is my message, especially to the youngsters. It's always a better look. I think it's, look, I've said all along, this is the thing. I don't disagree with Jamie, but I've never felt they were going to win the league. Does that make sense? So it's one of those things where Jamie saying it now, I feel sorry for the likes of Don Hussam, who have said we're just not strong enough to win the league. They get called negative. 2 months, 3 months into the season, all the top reds, all the pundits start saying, I think we'll just miss out on winning it because of this and that. And it's acceptable now, where the people that were calling it out in the summer are being called negative and nasty, etc., which I personally think is wrong. So I've said all year, guarantee top 4, Liverpool. I think they're more than good enough for that. I get where you're coming from with Darwin, and Darwin's got to click into gear soon. He scores a decent amount of goals. He's a threat. The red flag for me is the fact that he gets called Captain Chaos. And what I mean by that is calling him Captain Chaos is almost like a mascot-esque nickname which makes everyone go, he's our guy, isn't he? You know how people react when a puppy walks in the room. Oh, look at you. Darwin Nunez is one of your record signings, one of the most expensive players in your club's history. You need him to deliver. He's 24 years old, not 18, 19. At some point very soon, the abundance of simplistic chances that he misses has to stop. Now, a rebuttal to this isn't, but your striker hasn't scored in the Premier League. I know my striker's got to score. But that's not the point that's being made here. Darwin Nunez is 24 years of age. At the end of this season, I think it's in June, he turns 25. He is coming to a point soon where you would expect him to peak. And the volume of these big chances that he misses is crazy. And you know the strangest thing about him is all the shots yesterday that actually caused problems were shots from areas where you wouldn't expect him to score from. Yeah. All the easy chances seem to be the ones that he messes up. And that's a concentration or a mentality issue, which I can't quite put my finger on. And it has to be fixed soon, because if he scores those goals yesterday, that game was won easy. And the lack of a DM in a game like that, I think, was completely irrelevant. Luton grew into the game, as they did against Tottenham, because of all the missed chances. And they were still in the match come 34. And that's where Luton are dangerous. Man United played them at the weekend. We score an early goal or two, it's done. If you get to 60, 70 minutes and they're in the match, there's always a chance of that smash and grab. There really, really is. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think Liverpool are out of the title race. I don't think they were ever going to win the league. I never thought they were actually 100% in it. They've shown moments, but still, for me, they're a little bit too vulnerable to attacks. And they just don't have, aside from Mo Salah, enough potency up front as of yet. But listen, they've got...
Let me ask a question then.
You're in touching distance in January. Who knows?
Yes. Let me ask a question before you move on. Are Liverpool, do they have a chance of winning the title this year?
I have a chance. Yeah, there's a chance. Yes.
There is a chance. That is what I mean. When I say Liverpool are still in the title race, that means I still believe that with the right luck, with the right things that they do, they can win the title. They go in January, get a player or two, and they did it. Look at Van Dijk, completely transformed the way they played when they got Van Dijk in 2018, if I'm not mistaken. They go in January, invest well, get a good player in the DM or something. They start to be a very, very big threat to Manchester City. Yes, Manchester City are the closest team to win the title. Liverpool are not out of it. They have a chance. But I'm saying Manchester United don't have a chance of winning the title. Zero chance
of
winning the title.
I agree.
Liverpool are still there. You can give all the reasons you want for why Liverpool aren't going to win the title, which is, I will agree with you. I will tell you, yes, you're right. Yeah, we don't have a DM. We concede a lot of counterattacks. We concede this, that, which is fine. But you are not out of it because your team scores a lot of goals, because you have a great coach. You're not out of it yet. You're not Manchester United. You're not Chelsea, right? With all due respect to all the other clubs, Brighton have a zero chance of winning the league. Aston Villa have a zero chance, in my opinion, of winning the league. Liverpool, Arsenal, Manchester City, and even Spurs, which is, I think, they have an outside chance. We're going to come to that. But all these four teams, they have a chance, even if it's a small chance. Don't just say, but we're not winning the title. Well, you can't say that. You go in January, you invest, you're up there. You're up there. Just don't do that.
Yeah, look, of course there's a chance. There is a chance. I think guarantee of top four. There's just still a couple of things. You reflect on things, don't you? And I think that, like I said in my pre-season predictions, top four guarantee, I just wasn't convinced they weren't going to leak. It's the leaking of opportunities, partly the clinical edge as well. Maradon here, I love, says, Terry, why don't you ever speak on Højlund? It'd be very weird to speak about Højlund when we're in a Liverpool section. But, of course, this is a man who you want me to speak on him, I'll speak on him. I've been thoroughly impressed with his overall play at such a young age. I'm frustrated that we're not creating more opportunities and clear-cut chances for him like Liverpool do for Darwin Nunez. And I think if we start doing that, he'll put them away. The fact that I think he's the joint top goal scorer in the Champions League helps him a little bit. But he's also, 4 years younger than Darwin Nunez? But yeah, I would never bring up a Man United player like this unless I'm comparing examples. And I also did bring up the example of Højlund as well. But I've criticised him at times this season. I also think he's been taken off too early in games. But again, Højlund not being good enough doesn't do anything to... I want to say this to you, Maradon, in a nice way. Let's just create a hypothetical. Let's just create a hypothetical that Højlund is never good enough for Man United. That doesn't take away any points made about Darwin. It's not a defense of Darwin. even if you think he ain't good enough, my friend. So yeah, it is what it is. Super chat here says Bruno left Sporting. They won the league. Way Bruno plays, it suits to get his numbers. It is not suited for a team to be successful over a league season. What you're giving is factual information in terms of, yes, the season after he left, they won the league. But you're also factoring out that in the March of 2020, so a month or so after Bruno left, they sacked their manager and appointed somebody new. So there was an adaptation to where they played. But also, if you go back and look at Sporting Lisbon, they hadn't won a league since 01-02 until they did in the 2021 campaign, which, by the way, was behind closed doors season. And I've been told recently, there's a few caveats to this. I was told that people that did things behind closed doors, it wasn't real. So this one is. But let's just say it is all real. If you actually look, they only won like one in that same period. They only won a handful of domestic trophies. They were on a real barren run. And in the team that Bruno was part of, they started winning their domestic trophies again. And according to the Sporting Lisbon fans that I've spoken to, they were on a process of building back towards being a team that they thought could win their league titles. Bruno left before that happened, absolutely. But they were a team that were improving all the time and trying to get back to their very best. So I think you're right. They did win the league the season later, but you're taking out all the context of that situation as an example. It's like saying Liverpool only won the league because Philippe Coutinho left. I still think Liverpool would have won the league if Philippe Coutinho would have stayed. I don't think Philippe Coutinho leaving was the reason why Liverpool became a better football team. You could argue the money that from the sale of him helped, but then you could argue that with Sporting Lisbon as well. So I get where you're coming from, but this notion of, it's funny as well, right? Because for years, certain people online were like, how could you sign Maguire? He's been relegated. You can't sign someone who's been relegated. That makes him a bad player. But yet you have one of the best left backs in the Premier League in Andy Robertson that's been relegated. And a player this year that those same fans who say you shouldn't have signed Maguire because he got relegated, thorning over how good James Maddison is, who got relegated. So these kind of, I know what people do. And they go, right, how do I create a narrative? They won the league the year after. That means it's his fault. Or you can't sign this guy because he's got relegated. That means he's got a crap mentality. But if you apply that logic every time and then look at somebody's overarching opinions, there's always contradictions in there, which is why you can't look at anything, in my opinion, in such a sort of basic mahogany way.
100%. Look, listen. There is a reason why Man United went and bought Bruno Fernandes, and he delivered the best numbers in the Premier League over the first 18 months or something. There is a reason why he went to Man United. He was one of Portugal's best players at that time. He was one of the best players in the Portuguese league. That's why he went to the bigger club, Manchester United, to the bigger league, Premier League. He wasn't a bad player at Sporting. Sporting didn't sell him because he was a bad player. Sporting sold him because he was their biggest asset. You look at it. You want to look at it the way you want to look at it. You want to look at it the way you want to slander Bruno, whatever. We're not saying Bruno is Kevin De Bruyne or Zidane or anything. I'm just saying that Bruno Fernandes, when he left Sporting Lisbon because he was one of the best players at that team. This is why you go to the bigger club. It's as simple as that. People just don't want to look at these facts. Yes, they won the league, but he left because he was one of their best players. This is why he went to the bigger club. Is it? Unless you consider Manchester United a smaller club than Sporting Lisbon, this is where your logic can be wrong, my friend. Like, to be honest, this is kind of strange to me because if someone goes to Manchester City and their team wins the league, will you apply the same logic then? Will you apply the same logic? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. Like,
I hear you on that. Just changing the subject slightly, Marcus Rashford has responded to a tweet from the United stand. They put a tweet out this morning, which was the title of their video, asking a question. Says Rashford's future in doubt with a question mark. We are live. Marcus Rashford has responded with, please stop spreading malicious rumors. I haven't watched the content. I will say this. Asking a question, is Rashford's future in doubt? I don't think that's spreading malicious information, like rumors. Maybe there is a rumor that he might be leaving. I haven't read or watched any of the content. I don't think fans asking a question is spreading malicious rumors. But yeah, Marcus Rashford obviously not happy with that title today. Maybe that means he ain't leaving. So if there's rumors that he's leaving, I'm happy. I'm happy staying. If I'm being honest with you, but yeah, it's just a question. But
I have a different opinion about it. Okay, can I just add one point about this?
Go on.
1 point about this. The fact that Marcus Rashford responded tells me that there is unsettlement at the club. That he believes that the environment isn't great. That doesn't mean he's leaving. But the fact that you look at the media, yes, the United stands are a big platform, but that him as a football player at Man United tells me he's not focused on the pitch. He's not focused about the next game. He's looking at the media. He's looking, what are people saying about me? He knows he's not performing well, right? He knows that the club is not in the right place now.
No,
I think this is it.
I understand. A lot of people was here saying it was Planet Faz that did it. Like, and again, I can't comment on what's happened because I haven't gone and watched the content yet. I've only seen the thing. Again, I don't have an issue with questions. I think if there's a rumor that's trending on socials and someone does a video saying, is this true? I don't think there's anything wrong with that personally, because generally in those conversations, you get to the bottom of things. As an example, I've got a general theory. Now, this won't apply to every element of life. People that are offended by questions, in my view, are often scared of the truth coming out. And you get it a lot. I get it. I can ask a question. Do you guys think Liverpool are out of the title race? How dare you say that? Well, are you fearful? You are. I'm asking a question because lots of people are talking about it. Me asking the question's bad. It means you don't want to hear people's opinions on it, or you don't want that story coming out. That's strange to me. But look, Rashford's under a lot of pressure. He's having a poor season, and he's having a very poor season. It's a fan channel that's, I assume, are responding to a story and talking about it. And often I've watched a lot of Mark's videos where the question mark will be Ten Hag's job under threat. And he starts a video. He says, this is a rumor from this newspaper, from this journalist. This is my opinion on it. What do you all think? I just don't see what the issue is with that personally. I just don't. Like, it's weird.
He is under a lot of pressure.
Often if you listen to the content, I see a lot of people go, oh, this is nonsense. I can't believe you believe this. Well, you didn't listen to him in the first 2 minutes of the video. He says, I think it's nonsense. It's like, watch the content, then judge. That's my personal opinion, but maybe I'm biased because I'm a content creator. Let's have a little look here. Coutinho won a treble at Bayern. What did Bruno win? That's a fair point, but he wasn't instrumental in that. But Coutinho hasn't been instrumental in any of the trophies that have been won by. That's why neither Barca or Bayern were that interested in keeping him. So again, what you're doing there is you're being disingenuous with the facts. Luke Chadwick has got Premier League title winning medals. That doesn't make him influential in those Manchester United teams. But as a fact, he's more successful in the Premier League than Steven Gerrard. But we all know in reality that isn't the truth. So again, let's be honest about the facts, the background and the context behind them, please. There we go. Speaking of tonight's game, Tottenham to beat Chelsea, what do you reckon?
Yeah. I actually think, Chelsea will have a chance, but I think Spurs will be too much, especially at home at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. I can't wait for this game because I really want to see if Spurs win. What are people going to say, right? A lot of people are saying, like Sam, my friend, imposters and all this and that.
Yeah, Sam.
What are you gonna do? Like Sam,
but we know about Sam. We know about Sam. Sam's issue is this: whenever a club beats him in a match, or they get a player that he wants to sign, for a period of time he has a genuine mogender against them. Do you know what I mean? I'm using your phrase.
But anyway, to be honest with you, listen, this coming period for Spurs are very, very tough. Right? Very, very tough. However, if they finish this game and the game after, they might be, after 13 games, only lost 4 points. Not a lot of teams did that in the history. Not a lot of teams did that. I'm not telling you that Spurs will win the league. Don't get me wrong, right? I'm telling you that if they do this, now they are putting themselves for the people to take them more serious. Absolutely more serious. You win games, people take you serious. Also, the way they play football, you cannot just sit here and tell me that Spurs, in the majority of their games, they weren't the better team to win that game. There is a difference between you play football and you play a game of football and you win by luck, or you win when you're the worst team. That's unsustainable. But the way they play football, the majority of their games, including the game they drew against Arsenal, everybody, including Arsenal fan, would sit here and say, Yeah, Spurs played well away from home at the Emirates. Well, that's not by coincidence. That's Ange Postecoglou doing a good job. The players are performing well. Yes, they have a thin squad. I agree. I said that many times. But if they win today against Chelsea, who are a tough team today, because Chelsea play well against teams that have position, and Spurs today might have 60, 70% position. But if they win against Chelsea today, they nullify Chelsea's counterattacks, and they win today, they will prove that, yes, we are there. We're not joking. We're not imposters.
Yeah. I'm not. The word imposters. Look, we look. I love Assam.
I love Assam.
I wouldn't say they're imposters. I don't think they're winning the league. Right now, I'm not convinced they'll be in the title race come the last 10 games of the season. But I think they've had a phenomenal start to the campaign. I believe that, again, my opinion on that can change. They win games like today, keep winning. Suddenly you get to 15 games, 18 games, 20 games, and they're up by the top. They come through those big tests, and we still have to see how they respond to be. Again, we still have to see how they respond to being beat. They might not get beat this season, but they probably will. Most teams do. When Leicester, and listen, they're better. I actually think they're a bigger club than Leicester, but when Leicester were top of the league, a team that nobody expected to win it, there was always we've got to see how they get through losing, etc. And we did, and they responded well to it. Does that make sense? There's almost an element of me that looks at it. If they lost tonight, Tottenham, and then went on to win the next 5, 6, 7 games straight after, there's almost an element of that that's better than winning today, because it would be the proof they could bounce back from losing and not have their mentality damaged, if that makes sense. So I kind of, Spurs are a good team. They're a good team this season. They've got a very talented manager that a lot of us misread, and I'm one of them. And they're favourites tonight at home against Chelsea. Now, Chelsea, on the other hand, are also a team who I feel are close to really clicking. That means they're going to lose games. It means they're going to win some. It means they're going to be inconsistent at times. But they do need to win tonight, Chelsea, because they will stay in 13th place. And we are getting, and it will come very quickly. You know, we're near Christmas. We're going to be halfway through the season soon. They can't be after spending another £400 million in 12th and 13th. Like they're almost getting to that point now where, as much as they've got to develop, they've got to win. And I believe that will play into Tottenham's hands. If that makes sense.
For Chelsea, though, comes the beginning of December, you would have played Newcastle, Spurs, Manchester City, right, and Brighton. If you lose all these games, even though I sat in the top 6, and I said, you look all right. Your team look all right. If you lose all these games, it's going to be a tough period for Pochettino. He might get sacked, actually, because at the end, December cannot be here and you are 15 or 16th. You can't. In football, that shouldn't happen. For Chelsea, after spending that much money. Listen, I feel Chelsea have a chance today. I said that Chelsea will have a chance against Arsenal, because my proof for that, and I told you before, that Chelsea play well against teams that have position. Chelsea today, it would be down to the one-on-one battles. However, if it was me, I would pick Spurs to win, because it's at home. Because Spurs will have too much for them. I feel James Maddison, Son, Bissouma, now Bentancur is back, big weapon as well. Kulusevski, by the way, people want to slander Kulusevski. Kulusevski has been a very, very good weapon for them from that right side. He's been playing well. Chelsea, though, Raheem Sterling up and down. Cole Palmer proved to be a very, very good player. He might be one of the most important signings for them. Listen, their defense is good enough. Their defense is good. Their attack just need to click. Pochettino might have to a little bit abandon his way of playing football of, I want to have 60, 70% position. Might have to adapt a little bit to the players you have. This is the thing. And the money thing will always be there. People say, I have an agenda. Yes, I don't like the project. Your project for the good of football have to fail. And just me, I said it many times. People didn't like me. I said, we cannot be sitting here praising clubs for spending $1 billion in 1 year, because otherwise the richer will get rich, and the richer will just buy players over and over again. We need clubs to spend reasonably, because we want to have competitions. I want to have the likes of Aston Villa be able to compete. I want to have the likes of Brighton. That's why I'm saying, I'm just commenting on the football, but your projects for me is still something that I don't want to see in football. It's as obvious as that. And I have this energy for everyone. We cannot have clubs spending $1 billion in 1 year. I don't think that's sustainable. I don't think that should be allowed in football. Yes, your club found a loophole in it. Hats off to your boss. Hats off to you, the guy that runs your club. A genius businessman. But that shouldn't be allowed, in my opinion. $1 billion. You're buying a couple of midfielders for 200 and that million, and you're buying Lavia as well, who hasn't even featured. I think that's too much, in my opinion. That's too much for football.
I get where you're coming from, but I quite listen.
You would like your club to do that. I know that. Anybody would like your club to do that.
Do you know what it is with Chelsea? Like, again, some Chelsea fans I've spoken to recently can't stand their owners. Others really like it. So yeah, I'm intrigued. I'm very, very intrigued. There's some super chats here. First one says, we are spanking Spurs. Hope you two are well, boys. Chelsea fans think they're spanking Spurs tonight. It's listen, they could beat them. This is what I love about tonight's game. Spurs are favourites, but Chelsea can win. And I love a top six clash where you know both teams can get the W. Abu Baker here says, we have wingers who shoot first. Feel sorry for Højlund. Yeah, I totally agree. IFL talking about the treble winning season for Bayern Munich in the 2019 to 20 season, says that Coutinho scored 20 goals in 38 appearances, treble. That isn't true. He scored 11 goals in all competitions that season. And the following campaign, they didn't want him. Barca didn't want him. And he went on loan to Aston Villa, which started well and faded away. And he is now playing in Saudi. So again, my point to you, he scored those goals. He probably scored a few decisive ones, but Philippe Coutinho, if he was that influential to a club winning a treble, the next year they don't let him join Aston Villa, my old mate. But yes, you've also not got your facts right there. You've almost doubled the amount of goal contributions for him that season, my friend. So I'm sorry that you've done that, but you're out of the argument now because you've presented something not just slightly wrong, completely. T, thank you for becoming a member as well. Kate here. Kate is on the Top 6 show tonight, 5 p.m. We're live, people. So make sure all of you are back here live at 5 p.m. Brilliant panel tonight for you. Come on, you Spurs. Smash the Chavs. Kate has got to say here. This is an interesting comment, and I want to put this up, right? Because it's talking about the title thing here. And it's interesting. I want to talk about this. It says, if someone's titles a video is Terry a pedo, the implications would be that you were involved in something. Many people wouldn't watch the whole video and would just assume something. Well, that's multi-layered. I'll answer it because firstly, it's a false equivalence. So talking about a football player leaving a football club is not the same as accusing somebody of one of the worst crimes imaginable. So you've made a complete leap here when I talk about football and we're talking in a football context. So first of all, it's a false equivalency, so it's dead already. Secondly, there'd never be a video like that titled about me because nothing like that could ever be accused of me because of the way I live my life and the kind of man that I am. Therefore, it would be easy to shut down and it'd be malicious and that channel would disappear for false information. The fourth point would be if somebody doesn't actually read the article or listen to the video and judges, I don't care about that person's opinion because that person to me is an ignoramus. Anybody that just reads a headline and doesn't read the full body of work, doesn't research the sources and educate themselves before making up their mind, I care not for their opinion because they've got a dull head. It's as simple as that for me. But as I say, you've done
a weird comment. What?
It's a complete false equivalence in every single capacity. But I did want to comment on it because you've gone for the jugular there, VK, and you're a long-standing viewer, but they're not comparable in any way, shape, or form. And a title like that would never come out. Nobody would ever do that. No, a channel the size of the United Stand would never do a video like that about me, ever. Because there wouldn't be a story to do the video on. And the difference is this. Those guys might be, I haven't looked at the video yet. Normally, they're responding to an article from a credible, verified outlet. So again, yeah, it's one of those things. But anyway, let's move on. Very strange thing to say. I have a question. Are Arsenal looking scary? Look, Arsenal at the weekend, they didn't play particularly well. We from an attacking point of view, but of course their fans are outraged at the VAR decisions. What was your take on Bruno Guimaraes not being sent off, the goal with 4 problems still standing. And then, of course, a lot of Arsenal fans also angry in the sense of being frustrated that the Arteta's got this wrong and he's deflecting away from the poor performance. How did you view that massive game on Saturday?
Let's establish the facts. Arsenal fans, anybody that will go to St. James's Park will have a tough game. This is number one. You're not the only team that will go there, and even Liverpool were not the best team with 11 players. Arsenal didn't play well. You guys were not great, but that's not only down to you and your manager. It's down to Newcastle being very aggressive at their ground, being very good at their ground, playing for everything, the crowd rallying up their players and stuff. So just don't, I'm going to say that to Arsenal. I said on my show, don't panic yet. However, you got robbed because from the angles we saw, the ball went out. That's number one. That we're not going to talk about even anything else. We're not going to talk about the offside. The ball went out. And don't give me this Bean Sports show a video. The guys that sat at the VAR room did not have Bean Sports technology. They have the technology and they have the angles that we saw. So they saw the same angles that we saw. The ball was out. And they called it against Manchester United for the Hoyland goal against Brighton. We got to be consistent. I know people say it didn't go out. I believe you. We saw that Bean Sports virtual reality thing. But the people that sat at the VAR room saw the same angles. You want to sit here and tell me that the ball didn't go out? Is that what you want to say? The ball went out from the angles we saw. They were just scared to call it. And they said, because we didn't have the bird's eye view, we cannot judge it. You judge it on the angles you have. For the free kick, for the foul, the 2 hands at the back of Gabriel, for me, I play football and I'm telling you, you rolling a more or you ruling exaggerating on your fall doesn't make it less of a foul. 2 hands of Joelinton was on the back of Gabriel. That's a fact. Now, nobody can tell me otherwise. This should be given as a free kick. I don't care what Gabriel was going to do. Gabriel was pushed. The 2 hands are there. The images are there. For the offside, we didn't see it. They didn't have the lines to draw it. 2 offenses there, clear as a day. Arteta has every right to be fuming. This was incompetence because they couldn't make the right decisions and they were scared. These 2 points can be a major effect of this 1 point can be a major effect of the title. It was a draw, worthy of a draw. Newcastle weren't great as well. If you want to sit here and tell me Newcastle were great, they weren't great. In my opinion, Arsenal weren't good as well, right? But again, it's simple as both teams nullified each other. Anybody, Manchester City tomorrow, if they go to Newcastle, I wouldn't call them heavy favorites. I would call them that, yes, they're going to have a tough game. Newcastle will have a chance to win. Newcastle already won against Manchester City at home. Anybody that will go to Newcastle will have a tough game. Newcastle have not conceded a goal in the Premier League at home since August. We are in November. They have not conceded a goal. So Arsenal, they tried. Arteta maybe got it wrong. Eddie Nketiah was a passenger. There's a lot of players that were not good. And also there was a lot of players that were very, very good. Declan Rice was very good as an 8 this game. Saliba and Gabriel, they were good this game, right? So you have to call him as it is. Arsenal fans, in my opinion, this game will be tough for everybody else. This league will be tight. This league wouldn't be as easy as last year. You will not be on 50 points after 19 games. It's going to be tough. Just don't panic. Your team is not playing well. We agree with you. I said that many times. Your team isn't as fluid as last year, but you still getting the points. I wouldn't, anybody that sits here and tell me that they were not robbed, you lie to yourself, and it's inconsistency because they called it for Man United and you saw the pictures and you know they got robbed. You know that goal should have been called off.
Yeah, I look at it this way. Take away all the things that they actually checked. The ball hit Joelinton's arm, right? And one of the funniest things I heard was, well, Gabriel ducked down. He did duck down. And he ducked. Gary never wanted his own explanation as to why it wasn't a foul. He ducked down because he tried to get under it and flick it up. He did this on camera. I went, yes. And why couldn't he get back up to flick it? Because Joelinton had his hands on the back of his head. It's one of those things for me. This is where rivalry's got to be dropped. Your tribalism's got to be dropped. If any one of our teams conceded that goal, we would be doing what Arsenal were doing. when Liverpool spoke about replays and released their statement, when VAR broke its protocol, we would want all of our clubs to be coming out and speaking about this. Wolverhampton Wanderers, I mean, they're not getting the airtime because they're not as big a team, but 2 weeks running, they've conceded penalties for the opponents kicking the ground. Identical. 2 weeks running. And it should be trending news. And seeing these journalists and seeing these TV presenters laughing at Arsenal, laughing at Liverpool, laughing at Wolves, laughing at Man United when we say, hang on a minute, how comes, and people say that the ball going out for us wasn't the same as going out for Arsenal. I've seen 3 angles of Man United's ball going out of play. One looks conclusively like it's out. The other 2 look like it's in. The Arsenal, Newcastle angles, I've seen 4 angles on that one. 2 look in, 2 look out. Which means, based on the television angles available, it's inconclusive. But for Newcastle's, you say it's inconclusive, so we're going to give it as in, on-field decision. In Man United, you say it's conclusively out. That's nonsense. That is an absolute nonsense. Yes, from certain angles, it looks like it's over the line, but we all know that you change that angle and things look different. You know, that's the thing for me that I find hugely frustrating about this situation. It's the inconsistency. Depending upon which team, and by the way, ladies and gentlemen, I've got a video dropping later. I'm not going to go into it on this. I don't want to ruin the content because I recorded it yesterday. I believe there's a genuine conspiracy. Not towards Arsenal, not towards United, not towards any particular team. All I'm going to say is Kardashians. And that's like an Easter egg for you. I'm just going to say Kim Kardashian. I'm going to say Towie. I'm going to say X Factor. That's all I'm saying. Watch the video that drops later. Because for me, listen, and this the bit that annoys me though, and I will say this, there's 2 things where I'll call Arsenal out though. 1, stop having a go at Newcastle. It's not Newcastle's fault. Genuinely, it isn't their fault. Newcastle didn't pay the refs. Newcastle haven't cheated you. Newcastle have done nothing wrong. Second thing is when you benefit from one of these decisions next time, you can't be defending the referees. You've got to also call them out. Self-policing in any industry, in any walk of life, works. It absolutely does. You know, I have to discipline my children. It isn't anybody else's job to do that. Not the school. The school will do it, but it's not the school's job. It's not the childminder's job. It's my job. When it comes to football, we're fans. We've got a job to call out things that are wrong, and even if they benefit us, even if we know they're damaging to, if they benefit us but damage football, our club should be calling it out, even if we benefit, but it's damaging to football. We are a big part of this problem as well, because we allow the mistakes to kind of go unchallenged. Because look what's happening with Arsenal. I think 95% of football is enjoying it. They're laughing at it. So what does that make the referees and the Premier League and the TV companies do? They want more of it, don't they? Because it makes more drama.
Yeah, of course.
Steve here, I did put a funny super chat, and he says, Arsenal robbed their fans of attacking quality.
That's besides the point, Steve. That's besides the point. We can talk about the football now, because in my opinion, they were robbed. The game should have been a draw, in my opinion, based on what I saw. Let's talk about the football now and how Arsenal played. Yeah, you were not great. You're still not fluid. You're not creating enough chances. Bukayo Saka people are doubling on him. Martinelli is not playing well. Your lack of a good backup for Gabriel Jesus is showing now. Not replacing Xhaka is hurting your team. Odegaard is injured now, but he wasn't playing great. Kai Havertz, I think that's the mistake that might cost you the title if you don't correct it in January. I believe the lack of 8 is hurting your team, the lack of a great number 8. I don't believe Declan Rice is that guy. Declan Rice is one of the best 6s in the league. He's playing a DM. He's absolutely great. I don't know why he wants to shoehorn him at the 8 as well, because he doesn't have anybody else. Is Arteta panicking? I don't think so. He's still 3 points behind City, or 2 points behind City, if I'm not mistaken. 3 points behind Manchester City. Don't panic yet. There is still room to improve. Yes, the football may be, you'd say, unsustainable, but we saw the same team play very fluid football last year. Yes, we said you're not fluid this year. We're not creating enough chances. It can be fixed. We are in November. If you were 10, 15 points behind Manchester City, I would tell you, yes, you should panic. If you were 8, 9 points, I'll say yes. You lost 1 game away at Newcastle, where you were robbed in that game, where you nullified Newcastle's attack as well, which is one of the best in the division. So your defense is good. Same as Liverpool's offense is very good, and their defense is suspect a little bit sometimes. So you got to look at it both ways. Don't only criticize the offensive side of your game. Also stay as it is. The defensive side might win you the games, might keep you there until January. You have to say, people tell me, but the owners are not going to back my manager. Well, they did in the summer. Didn't they? You asked for over 100 million players. They got you. Timber got injured, unlucky, right? In last January transfer window, they went for a Mudryk, who was at that time a good prospect. Don't give me the energy. A Mudryk now is not great. Yeah, he's not great now. At that time, he was one of the good prospects. The recent history showed that your owners now, they back the manager. You go into January, you get an Ivan Toney to back Gabriel Jesus. You get an 8, you're up there again. I think you're going to be scary again. I think you're going to be good again. I said that many times this season. You're not fluid, yes, but it's salvageable. You can save it.
Yeah, it certainly is. We've got some super chats here I want to go to. First one says, I know what you are hinting at. Terry, I know what you're hinting at. I said it after the match on the show too. Another Easter egg. Absolutely. Chilmo, Newcastle have only beaten City twice at home in 18 years in the league.
But Arsenal this year beat City for the first time in 8 years. And this Newcastle team is different than the one that played in the last 18 years. Just 2 years ago, Newcastle were bottom of the league. They were called, oh, they're relegated already. Look at them now. So this is a fact, yes, but it doesn't change the fact that everybody that will go to Newcastle, any big team, including the Real Madrids, the Bayern Munich, will have a tough time if they go far in the Champions League.
Yeah.
You can't just sit here and tell me otherwise. This is not, I won't believe it.
Strasbourg Steve also says it was a Diego Simeone-esque win, physical, nasty, grind out somehow, some way. Proud of the boys. And yeah, Newcastle fans should be happy. It's an important win. The 3 points are there and they're not being taken away. I get that. When it went Arsenal's favour against Spurs, he said it's VAR. We just have to live with it until it goes against you. VAR is a disgrace. I thought I agree. That's where I completely agree with you. That is where I think Arteta has made himself look a little bit silly, is by when he benefited saying, you've just got to. He just said that you've just. Sorry, I'm just reading something real quick. Sorry.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment on this because I saw the super chat. To be honest with you, VAR made decisions in both ways. It's not Newcastle's fault. When Arsenal benefits from a decision, yeah, it went their way. Yesterday, a couple of days ago, Bruno Fernandes should have been sent off, in my opinion, for that elbow or hand or whatever in the back of Jorginho's head. In my opinion, VAR will do mistakes, will make mistakes, will get things wrong. You have to live with it. Arsenal fans saying that there is an agenda against us from VAR, that's not true, because you haven't had something against you like the one that Liverpool had against them.
No,
I
agree. This here says Newcastle had about 0.2 XG outside the goal. Yeah, both teams stopped each other's attacks the whole game. It's true. Arsenal robbed themselves. I suppose title challenger should still be good enough to win that match regardless. It's deflection.
Wrong.
What I find interesting about deflection is that I think the manager deflecting is a good thing. It's really weird because as a United fan who had the greatest manager in Premier League history at deflecting when things went wrong, when we were bad, when we got beat 6-1 by City, which was a much worse result, by the way, at home, he did a media blackout for 3 days, which is actually against the rules of the Premier League. You're not allowed to refuse to speak to the media, certain media. And he did it. And it all became about Fergie not talking to the media. And nobody was talking about the poor performance. Came out next game, won the match, spoke to the media, moved on. It was a way of playing things down. It's some gooners are so angry the manager done this. It's like, well, he's not going to call out his performances publicly. He's going to do it this way. This here says, sorry, it goes back to the Coutinho thing. I copy and pasted because it was my message. I meant 20 goals and assists in the treble winning season. You said that Coutinho was like Luke Chadwick. I didn't say it was like Luke Chadwick. Go back and listen. I said to you that Bruno leaving Sporting Lisbon isn't the reason the year later they won the league. The same as Coutinho leaving isn't the reason that Liverpool won the league and the Champions League. I don't think it's as simplistic as that, irrespective of what they've both gone on to do elsewhere. And my point around Luke Chadwick was he's won trophies at certain clubs, but he wasn't overly influential. Coutinho definitely more influential than Chadwick was, but the point remains the same. It says don't play down others to big up Bruno. I'm not playing down others. I'm giving you the context of the situation, which was suddenly removed. Chelsea's first 11 is the second best in the league. You know it, Chelsea, is what Nicholas says here. That's a big claim. Big claim there. Second best first 11 in the league. Nicholas. Wowzers. Wow.
This is oh my god, I love when fans back their club no matter what. You know what I mean? Like, I love my club. I'll say my player is the best player in the world. You know what I mean? I love that. But man, whatever, Nicholas, love for the super chat, man. But whatever makes you sleep at night. It's whatever makes you sleep at night. You know what I mean?
You're crazy. Yeah. I think Mikel is about to get a ban. Sometimes you got to do this though. Listen. We'll see how it plays out. It could be a good thing or a bad thing. When Klopp came out and complained about the amount of penalties that Man United were getting compared to his team, since then, the regression of penalties we get and the exponential growth of their awarding of penalties has benefited Liverpool. And this is what it's all about. Sometimes I keep saying to people, don't just listen to what the manager says in that vacuum. Think about why they are doing what they're doing and how they're trying to benefit your side. Typically, how you view that manager will impact your opinion. If you love Jurgen Klopp, it's seen as a deflection or a way of benefiting us. If you dislike him, he's a whingy, moany bastard. But at the same time, don't look at comments in a vacuum. Think about the bigger picture and why do you think that is being said? And then maybe your view of it will be somewhat different. This says, we City will walk the league. KDB is back soon. You very well could. If Havertz was given a red, that Bruno incident would not have happened. Facts. That's a really good point. And so I'm glad you brought that up because I've watched the replay back of that tackle now 3 or 4 times, and his front leg does ever so slightly catch the standing leg of who was it that he actually tackled? Longstaff. So again, looking back at that again, I would love to hear why VAR didn't think it was a red now. Again, however, the first replays we were all shown, it looks like he misses that front leg. Now seeing that he does, and I look at VAR in this way, you can slow it down as you should have done. So you are right. That could have changed the game completely. But that might have meant Newcastle didn't win. The last time a man got sent off there, it made Liverpool better. And Liverpool went on to win. So this is the thing. This is why you have to referee the game to within the letter of the law, and you have to give the right and the correct decision so we know so we get the right outcome. You don't know where a red card for Kai Havertz helps or hinders Arsenal. It could go the other way around. But at the end of the day, and in my videos about this, I've called out. I mean, Kai Havertz could have got a second yellow in the second half as well, and that should also be called out in this situation. This here says. Your Champions League predictions, guys. I hope you two are good. Very well, Steve. Who are you predicting to win the Champions League, Mo?
Man City are favorites. I think Inter are up there as well. I think Real Madrid. Bayern Munich with Harry Kane. People want to knock down Harry Kane. Bayern Munich with Harry Kane is a scary team in the Champions League. I believe so. I believe people want to tell me, but Man United played well against them. Watch Bayern Munich with a striker like Harry Kane going to the round of 16 and the final stages of the Champions League. I think Manchester City might be able to retain the Champions League. However, it's not going to be I know last season was tough, but it's not. There's a lot of teams that are close to Man City now. Man City still lack a little bit of experience with the likes of Gundogan leaving and Riyad Mahrez leaving as well. So I think Manchester City are closer, but I think there's other teams as well that will be there and thereabout. This is just how I see it, to be honest. But the Champions League, they're good. It's going to be a good competition. People want to tell me it's the weaker one as well. I'm like, yeah, I agree with you, but it's still very competitive. Yeah.
So, yeah, look, City are the best team in the world, but retaining the Champions League title is such a hard thing to do. Bayern Munich looking more and more dangerous. Kane is currently on course to be the highest goal scorer in a single season in Bundesliga history. And it also shows me watching Harry Kane, if he was in that Man City team, he could have scored the same amount of goals as Haaland. He's proving that because he's now in a team that creates chance after chance after chance, and he scores. So they've got a great chance. Bayern Munich, or City for me will win the champ. Maybe Man United, but definitely one. No, I'm joking. One of those couple of teams. This is an interesting. I love these comments here. Terry, how can we respect your opinion if you consistently change your mind? I'll answer it by asking you a question first off, which I typically don't do. I will on this instance. How can you change? How can you respect somebody who doesn't change their opinion when the facts of the matter change? So for me, I don't think Spurs are winning the league. If they win the next 10 games on the bounce, get even better, my opinion on their chances of winning the league will change because of their results and their quality has given us new factual information. I don't think Ten Hag can turn this situation around now. That isn't me flip-flopping on my opinion that he's a top-quality coach, because I think he is. What he's told us he's trying to implement, I don't think he can deliver. And if I knew that from day one, I wouldn't have backed the move. That is not the changing of an opinion because of a result, or one hair trigger moment. It is based on the information that we have changing or a body of work, a body of data being created. If somebody doesn't change their opinion when and you see a lot of this now on socials, when somebody says, I don't back Rashford. What would Rashford need for you to do to change your mind about him? Well, when he does that, I'll tell you. So you're not going to set the examples so you can never be proven wrong. I would not respect someone like that more so than somebody that says, I believed A, then we got new information, so now I believe Y. You know, once upon a time, and some of you might still be flat earthers, but once upon a time, science told us the world was flat. And then new information comes out, so we now know that it isn't. Once upon a time, nobody knew that dinosaurs existed. And then scientists discovered it. Once upon a time, when you bought a puppy, it was believed that you would lock it in your kitchen at night and let it cry until it just fell asleep for the first few weeks to train it to be able to sleep by itself. They now know that that's so dangerous, and that's what leads to a lot of children in your home, especially being bit, because it creates a dissociation between the owners and the dog. But people didn't know that 20 years ago because the discoveries hadn't been made. But imagine not changing the way you bring up a puppy based on new information. How could you respect that person? But thanks for the comment, my friend. VAR, what did Arsenal do for 94 minutes?
You're missing the point, my friend. Again, we're not saying that Arsenal did enough to win the game. We're looking about individual incidents, and these incidents say that they should not have lost this game. This is how I feel it is. I still disagree with Terry. I don't think is a record as well. I watched it again and again. Yes, you say that the first one code, the first leg of Longstaff and all of that. I watched it many times. I didn't see. Maybe I need to slow it down more. But VAR still have a certain amount of time to look at it. They looked at it. They saw what we saw. And they said, yeah, the trailing leg is the one that caught Longstaff. It shouldn't be a record. The fact that they didn't look at the Bruno Guimaraes one or looked at it that said it's only an arm off the ball, it's in the back of the head, he should have been sent off. This was blatant call. And it's a simple one. Stop the game. Look at the monitor. He hit him with the hand. Should be sent off. It's as simple as that. And if you don't see it this way, you're just biased. I don't have a horse in this race. I just see it as it is.
That's a crazy thing. Nicholas here says, what I meant to say is Chelsea's first 11 when everybody is fit. You know it, Terry. We haven't seen it play yet. On paper, you could argue it, but we haven't seen it play yet, Nicholas, my mate. But thank you for the super chat, brother. Leave Terry alone. He's a good content creator. Listen, bro. They love me. These men that challenge me are here for every show, every video, every day. They're my biggest fans, and I love them. And I enjoyed the challenge as well. Because there might be some people watching going, I don't respect people that change their opinions. They might now go, oh, no, Terry's got a point. And by the way, they may do. A show called Straight Facts, filled with so many hypotheticals. Yeah, of course. That's the irony. Why did I call these shows Straight Facts? It is a stray shot, not to any person in particular. It's a stray shot at anybody who gives an opinion and says that's facts when it's an opinion. It's an ironic title, digging people out who call their opinions facts. I've just gone right over a lot of people's heads, but it's literally digging at people that think that everything's hypothetical or an opinion or an if or a but or a maybe when it comes to most football conversations. Your predictions, as in the matches on Tuesday and Wednesday. Oh, the English teams. I think United beat Copenhagen. Dortmund beat Newcastle. City win. I don't even know they're playing, but City will win. And Arsenal
will play Sevilla
home against Sevilla will win. Yeah.
Will win. I actually think that you might lose the game against Copenhagen. You might lose the game against Copenhagen and you'll be out. I'm sorry.
we good.
You're out. You're going to be out. I'm not sure if that's the good or the bad for the club. Listen, and I don't want to go back to Man United again. I don't want to go to back to Man United again. I think actually, if you're a Man United fan now, I know that it's tough, but you really want Ten Hag out as soon as possible. I don't believe he can turn it around, but you need someone else. You need an interim manager that will pick these players up. Everybody's head is down now. I don't think you'll win the Champions League. You might not get out of the group. And I think this game, if you lose this game and he gets sacked, this is for the benefit of the players and every fan's sanity, to be honest. Every fan's sanity. Yeah, like I'm not wishing you to lose. I don't care if you lose. We'll laugh. I'll laugh, of course. But I think he needs to get sacked. And the problem is every win prolongs that. Every win, he's like, yeah, we're going to turn it around. Until I see a footprint, I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced.
I really hope we're both wrong. There's one thing as well about opinions changing. I hope my opinion is wrong. I do not want to say I told you so on this, but it's based on what we now know. It's crazy. Nav here says, just shut up, Inter fan. Bless him. Terry, can you still remember when Company got a red card against United without touching Nani because he jumped? United have been paying refs for long. So again, that was a two-footed tackle from the front. And as far as I'm aware, back then, you are talking, 12 or so years ago now. And I don't know if this law's changed, but a two-footed tackle, whether you make full contact or not, was a red card offence. Back then as well, tackles from behind, sliding tackles from behind, you didn't even need to hurt the guy, were red card offences. So we're talking about laws changing as well. He won't get sacked, trust me, and United will win more points. I hope you're right, Ray. I hope you're right. Look, I want to thank everybody who's come on the show, who's commented on the show, all of our super chatters. You're amazing. Please hit the likes and the share buttons. Mo, pleasure doing the show with you this morning. We're back at 5 p.m. for the top 6 show. We've got Kate on. We've got the Don on the show, Chelsea fan. We have George. Deluded Gooner will be joining us on the show as well. Rory will be on the show. But I don't know who else. I've got to speak to KJ, but lots of good names on there for you tonight. So make sure you're all tuning in. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. And I'll see you all again soon.